What's up, everybody? We're going to do another live reaction style video. Today, we're going to be listening to WORMROT. I have never heard this band before in my life. I was told to listen to this off of the last video, so it's supposed to be something different, so we'll see how this goes. Oh. Oh my god. I am literally speechless right now. How does he do that? Oh. It's honestly really impressive. Did he just sound? Did he just say go? I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm not like laughing because I think it's bad. I just wasn't expecting that. This drummer and guitar player are locked in. It's insane. Oh man, you can see the guy filming. How long does he scream? Like, how is his voice not just... How, how does he talk? Like, I don't get it. I know there's a technique to it, but I just... I don't understand how it could ever be something that you can sustain, even if you have the right technique. Is that it? Oh my god. That was 4 minutes? That felt like way longer than 4 minutes. Oh, stop. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to press play. That's a cool shot. I'm not gonna lie. This will probably end up being the thumbnail. I don't... This kind of music is so... It's so insanely different than... Well, honestly, not so much. Because if you look at it, if you like try to relate it back to jazz, in this scenario, the guitar player and the drummer are, I mean, most of the time they're the rhythm section, or they're part of the rhythm section. Very drummers, besides like having a drum solo, aren't usually like the lead instrument. Of course, for guitar players and stuff, that changes a lot. But they're acting as the rhythm section, and then he's the main melodic line, I guess, or the main like harmonic isn't the right word, but he's the main thing you're listening to. Like he's the main voice, I guess, is probably the word I'm looking for. I'd be curious to listen to other groups in this genre and see if there's any way that the people who are singing like this differentiate each other, themselves from each other. Like, does one have a different tone than say someone else, or do they all kind of sound the same? And like, how do they separate each other? Because in something like jazz, it's very soloistic and very much about expressing yourself as an individual as much as it is about playing in a group. The way that, like, if you listen to someone who listens to, well, you don't have to necessarily listen to a lot of jazz, but you can tell the difference between like Miles Davis and Clifford Brown or something. Even though they're playing the same instrument, they sound like different players because they play differently. Their sound is different. I mean, it's the same thing as like how Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande sound different. You know what I mean? It's not exclusive to jazz. So I'd be really interested to hear other groups and see if that holds for this style of music as well, or if that isn't true. Most of the time of listening to this, I was listening mostly to the drums because that was kind of the only thing I could really make sense of. I keep wanting to say melodic line, but I don't really know if it was a melody in the strictest sense. But his voice was kind of, it's just not, like, this just isn't for me. I guess the point of this music is to make you feel really uncomfortable. I definitely felt like uncomfortable and kind of in pain. But I felt more so in pain because I felt like he was in pain, which I guess maybe that's the point of it too. I don't know. I'm very inexperienced with this kind of music, so I'm not really sure what a lot of the artistic choice is behind a lot of these decisions they make. One thing I can tell you actually is the way that he's holding the microphone. Yeah, like that right there. So when you have a microphone, that is like that one looks like a SM58. I don't think it actually is, but basically, you talk into like the top of the microphone. Those microphones are cardioid, which means that they pick up everything in front of them and they reject everything from the side. And the way they do that is they have this whole like kind of complicated math thing where sound comes into it. And the way that the capsule is designed is this frequencies will actually cancel each other out. So that's how you don't get stuff from behind the microphone, generally speaking. Obviously, it's not perfect. But when you cover the top part of the microphone with a hand or both hands, you actually get rid of that mechanism. So the microphone basically becomes an omnidirectional microphone, meaning it picks up everything around it. And in a studio performance like this, I doubt that they actually recorded what they just played. They probably just sang along to what they did. I mean, I guess they could have done it live, but the mix sounded fairly isolated and then put together to me, and not like it was in a live room. But regardless, if you're on like a stage and you have monitors feeding back, like when you sing on stage and you have a monitor on the floor in front of you, it's giving you the signal that you are feeding into it. It's like when you talk, you hear yourself in that monitor. Otherwise, in a really loud stage, if you go to like a John Mayer concert or Grateful Dead or something, they wouldn't be able to hear themselves if they didn't have those floor monitors or those wedges. So covering the microphone like that with your hand is, generally speaking, not a good idea in a live performance, because since you make the microphone omnidirectional, it's no longer blocking out the stuff that's coming from the floor. And when a microphone picks up the signal that it's putting into a speaker system, you get feedback, which is that really loud, high pitch. Well, it could depend on what frequency the feedback happens at, but generally speaking, it's like a really high pitched, uncomfortable sound. So, tip for anyone who wants to be a performer: do not do this when you are singing live. It looks cool, and a lot of people do it. It is not a good idea. Do not do it. Being an audio engineer, I can tell you, as well as being a musician, I can tell you that this is like our worst nightmare. When we see a singer like put their hands up there on the microphone, we're like, our fingers right on their fade are like ready to kill their signal in case it feeds back. But going back to the performance and not so much technical audio jargon, The guitar player and the drummer were like insanely locked in together, which was really cool. And he was kind of like basically, since it's a trio and they don't have a bass player, he was basically kind of filling, the chordal role in their harmonic with the harmonic structures on his guitar, but also like playing a bass line. And a lot of the rhythms that the drummer was playing, he was echoing on guitar, which is like completely insane. Like right here, they're complimenting each other. I love how he's just smiling. That's so sick. Where was it? You can kind of hear it there. There's a couple times where the drums and the guitar will line up, but his his technique. First off, all their technique is really impressive, but just like how a lot of the times when you play something that's fast or has a lot of energy and is really exciting, the tendency is to just get carried away with it and just continue to like get faster and faster and faster, and they're just like locked in, which means they practice to a metronome a lot. And then, oh my god, this part of the song, I was just not expecting. See, it sounds like he's just saying go. And for some reason, I find that hilarious. Like, the guitar player and the kick drum are lining up a lot, which is cool. It kind of, like, those two things lining up at the same time sort of gives the impression of, like, a bass line. Because those two frequencies combine together. Because they're both so low. Because when he's playing the low notes of his guitar line, of course, like the tone of his guitar also adds to it too, but really interesting. It's very intriguing to see. Like normally, I would have at least expected a bass player in this kind of a group, and then like maybe even another guitar. But the fact that they're a trio and they're able to get this much of a sound is kind of crazy. And listening to it again, this actually might have been like when they're seeing this. I know it says it's live at the music parlor, but sometimes I've seen performances where you look at it more and you're like, no, this wasn't live, and they say it is. They might have actually put his guitar cabinet in a different room, and that's why it sounded to me like things were a bit more isolated. Even though there are guitar cabs in there, they might not actually be using them, because I feel like you would hear so much more guitar in his vocal mic. But like the drums, maybe they just have a lot of the overheads in the drums, so that snare sounds like there's a lot of room in that. And his vocals sound really isolated too. Like when he starts to sing, there's no sudden like increase in any of the frequencies of the volume. It's just he starts to sing and you just hear his voice, which makes me feel like his vocals are really isolated, like he's in another room somewhere. Huh. Yeah, like this whole section, it's just the guitar player and the drummer just basically having a conversation, which is sick. Oh my god, that's insane. Man, I know there's a technique to it. I don't understand how anyone can have that technique and still speak. That's crazy. This was really cool. I like getting recommendations for stuff that I would like literally never listen to. So I forgot who recommended this. Maybe I'll do an edit after I find your name and thank you. But whoever recommended this, thank you. This is actually really cool. I wouldn't say I'm going to like go and listen to the rest of this group too much. So I do want to I want to hear some other groups in this genre to hear what they do differently. But this was really cool. This is definitely a good experience to like draw parallels between this and what I play and everything. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next one.